What is the experience of being a caregiver for the second generation of scumbags? In order to earn money, I went to work as a caregiver for my former client, Song Jian, a rich second-generation man. But I was humiliated and tortured by him in every way. It turned out that I was fired and owed debts. All thanks to this bad-minded bastard. I swear. I'm going to make him pay. 1. During the epidemic, I invested in medical devices as a side hustle and owed 100,000 foreign debts. In desperation, I asked my relationship to find a private personal care job with a monthly salary of 25,000. On the first day of work, I entered the employer's house, only to find that the employer turned out to be Song Jian, an old acquaintance who wanted to bribe me before. Yo! Isn't this Shu Rui? Why haven't you seen me for a few days? So pulled. Started working as a nurse. Song Jian had a straight face and looked at me squintingly, as if he was looking at a beggar. Song Jian's attitude towards me in the past was not like this. Once, in order to sell a batch of inferior medical equipment to my former company, he tried his best to curry favor with me, secretly invited me to dinner, and promised me a lot of kickbacks. But I refused both. I can't joke about a patient's life for a kickback now. I have to be forced by life to work as a caregiver for him. I had to laugh awkwardly. Mr. Song, you. Hello. I'm in some trouble. Song Jian was lying on the bed eating cherries and spitting out the core. I heard that you stole the company's connections to make private money and were fired, right? You are a person, on the surface, you are sanctimonious, but in fact you are doing such things behind your back, and I look down on an unprincipled person like you. I was even more embarrassed and hurriedly explained, that's not the case. Stop talking nonsense. Song Jian snorted hard, interrupted me impatiently, and said, I don't bother to know about the little bit of poor X. You hurry up and clean up the cherry pits in this place for me. I took a deep breath and hurriedly went to get a broom dustpan, but I heard Song Jian say sternly, you are not allowed to sweep. I want you to use your hands to pick up the cores on the ground one by one. I clenched my fists with both hands, and he was obviously humiliating. What? Song Jian spat out another mouthful of cherry pits, and said proudly, if you don't want to do it, get out of here. My fisted hand finally let go, gritted my teeth, and picked up the cherry pits on the ground. Finally finished cleaning up. Song Jian suddenly reached out in front of me and poured all the cherry pits thrown on the table on the quilt beside him. I stared at him in surprise. What are you doing? Song Jian pointed to the garbage on the quilt. This bed is dirty. Hurry up and change the quilt cover and sheets. Staring at this villain's triumphant face, I came up angrily. You did it on purpose. Yes, I did it on purpose. What can you do to me? If you don't want to do it, get out. Song Jian shrugged his shoulders, as if I couldn't treat him like that. Also, you go wash all my clothes. Pay attention when washing, my clothes are all high-end goods. I have to wash them by hand, or you poor ghost can't afford to pay if you wash them badly. I didn't want to do it on the spot, but the moment he wanted to leave with his face, Song Jian suddenly said, I have signed an agreement with you. If you withdraw midway, you will be in breach of contract. And you will have to pay 5 times the contract amount in liquidated damages. My arrogance instantly collapsed. I didn't look closely when I signed the contract. If I knew that my employer was Song Jian, I would not be able to do this job even if I died. After a long time, I calmed down. Come to the laundry room with the sheets and quilt covers. As soon as I entered the laundry room, I smelled a unique sour smell emanating from the clothes that had not been washed for a long time. I looked at the pile of underwear and socks on the washing machine, and only felt my scalp tingle. My own clothes are thrown into the washing machine, but I have to wash Song Jian's dirty underwear by hand. I couldn't accept it and secretly stuffed my underwear into the washing machine. Bang! As soon as the clothes were stuffed into the washing machine, I was hit the head. Let you be lazy. Song Jian's voice came. My eyes instantly darkened and I fell to the ground. I told you to wash it by hand. Are you deaf or brainless? Song Jian took back the crutches that smashed me, looked down at me, and said viciously, next time I see you using the washing machine, don't blame me for being rude. I touched the swollen back of my head. Shocked and angry, but in order to pay off the debt, for the sake of money, I still have no rebuttal. I took out the clothes from the washing machine and washed them by hand. Song Jian piled up a lot of clothes, and I washed them for 6 hours, and I was so tired that I couldn't straighten my waist. so I washed them all. As soon as I dried my clothes, I didn't have time to catch my breath when Song Jin gave me another order. He shouted, "I want to go to the toilet, get me the night pot, and continue." I was shocked. Isn't it possible to go to the ground? Song Jin smiled and said, "I can go to the ground, but I just can't go to the toilet by myself. Do you have any objections?" He is clearly humiliating me. But I owe usury. I really experienced the words of a penny forcing a hero to death. I put down my dignity, trembled and held the night pot, serving Song Jin. "Don't shake your hands, be steady. Yes, that's it. This is the level that a caregiver should have for 25,000 a month." Song Jin looked down at me with eyes that looked down at the world, and I frowned and endured the sky-high smell coming from the night pot. Song Jin lifted his pants and breathed a sigh of relief, then turned over and lay on the bed. When he turned over, his hand accidentally hit the night pot, and the urine in the jar was all over my face. I couldn't open my eyes, because of the smell. My hands shook, and the jar fell to the ground, smashing to pieces, and urine splattered all over the floor. "How do you work? Hurry up and clean it up for me. Wash the sheets and quilts again for me." Song Jin scolded me loudly. Anger surged in my heart, and I really wanted to quit immediately, but thinking of the usury I was saddened. I had to endure the humiliation, wipe the urine off my face, and then silently start cleaning. Although my hands are a little clumsy, my attitude is not bad. Song Jin smiled. "By the way, the night pot that was knocked over just now is a porcelain of 20,000 yuan, which will be deducted from your monthly salary." Thinking of the debt I was saddled with, I dared not argue with Song Jin anymore, and I could only work with peace of mind. Huluo Pingyang was bullied by a dog. Song Jin, when I turn over, I must return the humiliation I suffered to you 100-fold and 1,000-fold. When I finished cleaning the house, washed the sheets and quilts, and went back to Song Jin's bedroom again, I found that the house was once again tossed around by him. On this day, when I hardly rested, Song Jin could always come up with all kinds of tricks to toss me. But I can't help it. Song Jin paid a very high salary. It is several times higher than that of ordinary nurses. Give him a job for 4 months, and I can earn 100,000 with 100,000 yuan. I can pay off my usury and don't have to be threatened by debt collectors. Therefore, I could only endure Song Jin's viciousness and humiliation, gritted my teeth and persevered. 3 in the evening, I dragged my body back to the rental house. Just 2 minutes after lying down, the door was slammed with a crackling sound. Looking through the cat's eyes, there was a group of debt collectors with knives in their hands. I didn't dare to open the door and begged, "I will definitely pay you back all the money I owe in 4 months. The debt collector said in a thick voice, "Get out of here quickly." I didn't speak again. I knew very well that once I went out, I would be beaten by them until I couldn't get up. The debt collector kicked the door hard and smashed the door. Because the movement was too big, it attracted the attention of the neighbors, who told them to leave, otherwise they would call the police. When the debt collector left angrily, he said, "If you don't pay back, I will kill your whole family." I lay on the bed like a dead dog, hating my former boss more and more. I was cheated by my former boss, so I owed a debt of 100,000 yuan. The former boss said that I was a talent and would definitely make a big difference in the future, and encouraged me to take a ride in the company's business, buy and sell a batch of medical supplies, and earn my first pot of gold. I was also a ghost, and I really believed his words, and did not hesitate to mortgage the property, and borrow usury to buy materials. As a result, the buyer told me that the boss had provided enough supplies, and they would no longer buy them. I was so angry that I rushed to my boss's office, and slapped the table with him. "Why are you cheating me?" The boss didn't respond to my question, but said with a cold face, "Shu Rui, how dare you use the company's business resources to make private money? Do you know that you are violating the non-compete agreement? You are fired." At that moment, I was blinded. I know that I was cheated by my boss. After completing the graduation procedures, I had to sell my hoarding at a low price and mortgage the property, otherwise I would have owed far more than 100,000 yuan. I was charged with stealing the company's business resources, so that no company dared to use me again. When I was panicking and didn't know what to do, a friend recommended me to work as a nurse. He said that after 4 months of work, 100,000 yuan was in hand. I fell asleep. In grief and anger, the next day, I continued to serve Song Jian. As a result, I was stunned as soon as I entered the door. The house was a mess, filled with broken wine bottles, fruit shavings, cigarette butts, garbage, and even several small used umbrellas. Obviously, Song Jian had a party here last night. Song Jian lay on the bed as usual and called me like a dog. After yesterday's tossing, I have been called out of strength, but for the sake of money. I am still persisting. 18 noon. Song Jian was uncharacteristically quiet. I took a breather and hurried to have some lunch. Halfway through the meal, Song Jian greeted me again to serve him xiaojie. I did it numbly. He called while peeing, "Baby, what are you doing? My husband misses you." I don't know what was said on the phone. Song Jian's face was full of excitement. Song Jian made an appointment with 3 or 4 different women to his house in a row. The women have never met each other, which makes me breathe at Song Jian's time management skills. Within 2 days, another strange and beautiful woman in a flight attendant uniform came over. Song Jian and the beautiful woman walked into the bedroom arm in arm. Not long after the bedroom door closed, an unusually high-pitched scream of a woman suddenly came from inside. Scum. Garbage. The woman rushed out wrapped in sheets, turned a blind eye to me, turned her head and pointed at Song Jian and scolded. "Why did you secretly take a picture?" Song Jian looked aggrieved. "No. Still lying to me." The woman scolded, "What's going on with that pinhole camera?" Song Jian stayed for a few seconds, his eyes rolled, and then he glared at me and said, "Did you do it? You lowly thing." I was stunned for a moment, and before I could understand, I was slapped hard by the woman. The woman stared at me viciously. "Dog thing, how dare you do such a thing?" I touched my hot face and looked at Song Jian blankly. "What did I do?" Song Jian gave me a crutch and said angrily, "You put a pinhole camera in my room." I hurriedly wanted to explain, but Song Jian took advantage of the woman's inattention and smashed me, and he whispered, "Carry it for me, otherwise you will look good. I don't want to endure this unfounded charge." But the threat of the debt collector and the crying of my mother made me nod my head with difficulty. "Fuck you." Song Jian shouted violently and slapped me with his backhand. He was so hard that I was slapped so hard that my ears buzzed. The woman pointed at me and said fiercely, "Which housekeeping company are you? I want to call the police to arrest you." Hearing that the woman was going to call the police, Song Jian hurriedly coaxed, "Don't be like this, baby, we adults have a lot. Why bother with a low poor ghost?" Then, Song Jian limped me on the leg and said angrily, "Kneel down for my baby. Kowtow 3 times to admit your mistake. Otherwise, I will let you get out of here, and you won't get a penny." Obviously I didn't do it, but I had to kneel. I struggled for a long time, and finally knelt down in front of the woman, kowtowed 3 times, and admitted my mistake repeatedly. "Garbage, you have to be a slave for the rest of your life." The woman glanced at me in disgust, turned around and threw herself into Song Jian's arms. "Honey, let him get away. I feel disgusted when I see him." Song Jian hurriedly yelled at me, "Get out of here and clean the yard." I walked out of the villa silently, and the 2 of them continued to entangle and went back to the bedroom, sweeping the fallen leaves in the yard. I felt sick and aggrieved. Sure enough, things are track-like, and Song Jian's head is not a good person, unruly and stupid. After a long time, the woman walked out of the villa. Before leaving, she gave me a fierce look. Poor thing. Song Jian came out on crutches with a smile, hugged my neck, and dragged me into the house. Yes, behave well, don't cry and lose face. I'll show you something good to compensate." I didn't understand what he was going to do, and watched him suspiciously turn on the computer and log onto the network disk. There were a lot of indecent videos that left me stunned. Song Jian showed off to me while telling me how he caught those fish. Song Jian patted me on the shoulder and said extremely arrogantly, "With these things, women can let you play for a lifetime and learn something. How about it? Don't take the blame for nothing today, right?" Hey, Song Jian is also addicted to his achievements. I was in disbelief. I always thought that Song Jian was deceived by sweet words when fishing, but I didn't expect that he actually used so many lowly and even illegal means. I want to call the police. But if you call the police, I don't know if Song Jian will be brought to justice, but I will definitely be driven away and I won't get a penny. Moreover, it is always difficult for women to speak out after being victimized in this regard. And they may not dare to stand up and identify Song Jian. After thinking about it, I had a decision in my heart. 6 I decided to wait until my 4 months of caregiving work was completed before calling the police and asking the police to investigate and deal with Song Jian. 2 months passed in a flash, and I was tortured and physically and mentally exhausted. I have developed the habit of marking my calendar, and I pray every day that I can finish my work as soon as possible and get money to pay off my debts. On this morning, Song Jian was dressed extremely neatly, as if he had changed a different person. He was dressed in a suit and leather shoes. His hair was neatly combed. He even put on some makeup, and he wore glasses, looking elegant and elegant. I realized that he was going to meet an important person. I didn't expect that this person was Shu Jin. Shu Group is a local industry giant, and a large number of distributors of medical supplies have to rely on their industry to survive, which is of great importance in the industry. Shu Jin is the youngest daughter of the Shu family. I have been lucky enough to see it a few times when I was running a business before, and it is the standard white rich beauty. It's an exaggeration to say love at first sight, but I think such a woman will make all men flock to it, including myself. She was wearing a pale yellow trench coat. Inside was an elegant and simple white dress, and a small Gucci bag was lightly worn on her shoulders. Shu Jin, you're here. As soon as Shu Jin came, Song Jian had a gentle and sunny smile on his face, and gently took her hand and came to the living room. You are so inconvenient, so don't worry about me. Shu Jin looked pitying, took off his coat and handed it to me. Song Jian snatched it and dragged half of her lame leg to hang up for her. What stupid things are you talking about? You are my most important person. I don't care about you. Who cares about you? As he spoke, he also gently rubbed Shu Jin's good-looking nose. Shu Jin's pink cheeks turned slightly red, and she smiled shyly like a little girl, thinking about those women coming. Song Jian impatiently put his hands on them, but in the face of Shu Jin, Song Jian restrained his beastly desires. I was surprised and felt a great sense of unease. Song Jian was obviously trying to cheat money and sex, and when I thought that Shu Jin was going to be harmed by scum like him, I was distraught. If I tell Shu Jin directly that Song Jian is the king of the sea, I am afraid that she will treat her as a neurotic. It wasn't until the next morning that I just arrived at the villa and heard Song Jian calling again. When I marry the daughter of the Shu family, the company's business problems will be solved. Song Jian conspired with people on the phone, laughing lewdly from time to time. Yes, those stinky girls have been pretending to be pure. You can get me some medicine. Yes, let her get pregnant, and you can get married as soon as possible. I hid by the door and secretly decided not to let Song Jian succeed. Watching a girl being raped is beyond my personality line, but I can't offend Song Jian. After all, I still need this reward to save my current predicament. I have to find a way to save the country. 2 days later, Shu Jin came to visit Song Jian again, and I carefully hid in the shadows to observe them. Song Jian sat on the sofa in an orderly manner, looking at Shu Jin's eyes, but revealing a lewd gaze. Xiao Chen, please make some coffee. Song Jian made me become gentle and polite. I want Jinna's favorite Ethiopian coffee. The strong contrast between beasts and Svens makes me look down on them very much. After I served the coffee, I pretended to leave to do something else. But secretly, I was peeking out the window. After the two of them drank a few sips of coffee, Song Jian suddenly said, ouch. Shu Jin's face was a little flustered, and he said with concern, what's wrong with you? It's starting to hurt again. Song Jian pointed to his broken leg, looking very painful, and said, no. It's okay. I'll just go get some painkillers. I'll go. Tell me where I am. Shu Jin stood up anxiously. How can that work? How can I be willing to let you? Shu Jin laughed angrily and said, okay, your legs are inconvenient. What's wrong with letting me go? Song Jian hesitated for a while and said reluctantly, the medicine is in the medicine box in the bedroom. Please trouble you. Shu Jin walked towards Song Jian's bedroom. As soon as she left, Song Jian quickly took out a paper bag from his arms, opened the paper bag, poured the white powder into Shu Jin's coffee cup, and stirred it vigorously. Then he quickly withdrew his hand and returned to his scumbag. Shu Jin came back soon. She took a box of medicine and said, take the medicine quickly, your legs won't hurt after eating. Song Jian said earthy love words. Don't eat it, look at you, now I don't hurt again. Shujin smiled shyly. Song Jian did not urge Shujin to drink the cup of coffee with the medicine, and continued to chat with her unhurriedly. I was so anxious that my brain was spinning quickly, thinking about how to save Shujin. Seeing Shujin pick up the cup, I had an idea and hurriedly walked over with a cup of sugar. Miss Shu, I'm really sorry I forgot to give you sugar just now. With 2 steps left to walk in front of the two of them, I tripped my left foot and my right foot, and my body instantly lost its balance and rushed out, knocking over Shujin's coffee. The hot coffee was spilled on me and I screamed in pain. Xiao Chen. Are you okay? Song Jian screamed and hurriedly went to help me with Shujin. When I stood up, I happened to make eye contact with him and felt a chill instantly. Song Jian's eyes were like poisonous snakes, staring at me with chills down my spine. I'm fine. I'm sorry, Miss Shu. I'll clean it up right away, and make you another cup. Shujin waved his hand again, and told me to hurry up and treat the burn. Song Jian also echoed, but I could already feel Song Jian's hatred, which filled the entire villa. But I don't regret it. I only feel happy to save Shujin from the hands of Song Jian's scum. When sending Shujin away, Song Jian was still full of gentleness. When you get home, remember to report your safety to me. When Shujin disappeared from our field of vision, Song Jian showed a ghost-like face, turned around and slapped me in the face. Paralyzed, you bastard have disrupted my plan. He beat me so hard that I slumped on the ground. I know that my days will be even sadder in the future. 7 Song Jian began to retaliate against me frantically. He often finds fault, and even slaps me twice, just because he thinks the fruit is not sweet enough. The fox friends came to the party again, and he taught them this trick again, asking them to take turns slapping me, and the group laughed. In the end, they even stripped me naked and kicked me out of the villa. I don't wear anything, I can't go anywhere. The music in the villa was loud, and they made trouble in it all night, and I could only hold myself and squat outside all night. I lived like a year, but looking at the calendar that was gradually filling, I gritted my teeth more and more, and always told myself to persevere. Thankfully, I don't know if he was a thief or if he was afraid that I would ruin his plan again, and in the next nursing day, he didn't try to do anything out of the ordinary. Seeing that there were still 3 days left, I cheered myself on again, and told myself that this was the last darkness before dawn. Song Jian's fox friends came to play crazy again, and I could only bite the bullet and continue to serve them. When I was delivering drinks to a few of them with trays, a guy who was playing in the room suddenly bumped into me. I lost my balance and flew out with the pallet. Seeing the drink goddess splashing on the wall like a flower, I hit the huge vase in the living room and instinctively hugged the vase, but the vase couldn't bear my weight and was knocked down. The vase shattered all over the ground and pierced my arm, causing blood to flow. The fox friends cheered. Does this look like a pig on a tree? I bought this vase from France, and is worth 5 million. Song Jian walked over with a cane and said with a strange smile, is your life worth 5 million? Ming. Obviously he hit me. I panicked and pointed at the person who hit me. I don't believe you are surveillance. Song Jian smiled contemptuously and asked someone to move the computer, which contained all the cameras in the villa. What shocked me was that the location of the incident was a dead end and I could only see me throwing out, and I couldn't see anyone pushing me from behind. I felt like my brain was going blank. In this situation, even the police can't help me. What vase is worth 5 million? I angrily questioned the value of the vase, and Song Jian immediately took out the invoice. Open your dog's eyes and see. Song Jian smashed the invoice in my face. If you sell it, you can't afford to compensate. I held the invoice and my mind went blank. This job can only earn a total of 100,000 yuan, and now even if I don't get paid, I still owe Song Jian 4.7 million. I suddenly understood that this was Song Jian's revenge. Revenge for me for destroying him and defiling Shujin. I'm not doing it. I cursed, pouring out all the anger that had accumulated over the past 4 months, and rushed towards Song Jian. I don't want you to die well. Unexpectedly, Song Jian flew up that broken leg, and kicked me down. I looked at Song Jian in shock and blurted out, Your legs, Song Jian smiled, looking even more proud. I didn't expect that, right? My legs are fine at all. He kicked his broken leg and said contemptuously, at this point, I'm too lazy to pretend. Let me tell you, There's nothing wrong with me, you stupid X thing. I was scared and angry. You. Why are you doing this? I just want to tell you today that the person who dares to ruin Lao Tzu's business will end up like this. Do you understand? I looked at him incredulously. You pretended to be lame for 4 months to take revenge on me. Song Jian laughed and said, yes. I'm happy to let you, a stupid X, bring NP to me. Ha ha, I've been playing with you for 4 months, just to see you like a dog eating today. I've never played such a fun game, and a turtle like you will never understand the fun. He laughed like a pervert, and pointed at me to the people around him and said, look, the appearance of a dog eating shit appeared, take a picture of it. Ha ha ha, everyone laughed along. I felt my blood rush to my brain. I rushed to Song Jian like crazy. You give me death. But before I could run to Song Jian, I was held down by a group of people on the other side, followed by a violent beating. I was beaten so hard that my nose was blue and my face was swollen, and I was thrown out of the villa. I fell to the ground. Song Jian looked at me condescendingly, looking at me proudly. Boy, I don't want the extra 4.7 million, you can keep it for your own medical expenses. He sneered, you really haven't made any progress at all. You have been played like this by your boss, and you dare to come out to be a big-tailed wolf, which is a bad thing for me. I reacted and understood everything, so. Everything is you. Song Jian smiled sadly twice. Why do you think your boss cheated you? Why did someone introduce you to a loan when you were short of money? So it just so happened that you had a job with such a high paying when you were forced into debt. Originally, I didn't want to do something so amazing, but you still don't repent, and you have come to ruin Lao Tzu's good deeds. You are dying yourself. When Song Jian was leaving, he kicked me hard again, making me wail in pain. I used all my strength to roar, I'm going to call the police. I'm going to sue you. Song Jian turned around and just smiled contemptuously. There are Lao Tzu's connections in heaven and on earth, just by you. I'm looking forward to it. Song Jian and a group of people laughed and closed the villa door. I punched the ground hard and said hoarsely, Song Jian, you bastard, I don't want to risk this life, and I want you to go to hell. 9. I was seriously ill. At the end of the 4-month period, the debt collection company came to collect the debt again, and I had to hide in a hotel to recuperate. During my recovery, my mind became clearer. At the beginning, I wanted to secretly ambush Song Jian and exchange his life for another. Soon, I realized that this was irresponsible and not cost-effective for my family. I calmed down and decided to make a plan to ruin Song Jian. I have a deep understanding of how much Song Jian likes women. He definitely told more truths than usual with women and in bed, and those women would be my breakthrough to bring him down. Song Jian probably didn't expect that he had entered the network disk account and password in front of me so many times that I had written it down. And now these indecent videos have fallen into my hands. I didn't want to do this, but I still downloaded all these videos and began to follow the map to contact the group of fish in Song Jian's fish pond. I either followed or accosted a conversation, collected the contact information of many people, contacted them through a trumpet on the internet, threatened them with indecent videos, and found out the whole truth of the matter within a few days. Song Jian colluded with my former boss and the loan company to deal with me because he hated me for rejecting his unscrupulous business, and also used a friend who cared about me to spread to me that he wanted to hire a caregiver at a high price, deceiving me. This story seems to make Song Jian proud. He has told almost all women, which makes me feel more and more that the world of rich people is difficult to understand. After getting a lot of information, I first targeted the lending companies. This company has a closer connection with Song Jian than I imagined. It is a company that specializes in helping Song Jian turn over black money and do illegal things. Song Jian exploits legal loopholes and deceives customers to make money, which will be lent through this company, and when customers want to hold Song Jian accountable, the company will have a group of hired members of society to privately threaten customers and force them to give up accountability. In the past few days, when I was hidden, they made my parents and relatives uneasy. So I made up my mind to cut off this group of beasts first. More importantly, if Song Jian's black glove is destroyed, the possibility of him harming me by illegal means will be greatly reduced. I found an old acquaintance in the indecent video, the woman who slapped me that day, Wang Qi. I followed her for a few days and found out that she and Liu Minsheng, the owner of the loan company, also had a leg. Liu Minxing has a fat head and big ears. There is not a single hair on his head. His face looks like a toad, and his belly is as big as if he is pregnant with Liu Jia. This kind of face is definitely not the material for a little white face. So it can only be another big model of Wang Chibian. I studied Wang Chi for several days and found that she always staggered the time of dating Liu Minxing and Song Jian. So I determined that she was a green tea gold worshipper who deceived left and right. If Song Jian and Liu Minxing, the two villains, knew about her behavior, Wang Chi was afraid that she would evaporate from the world. This vicious and shameless woman was my breakthrough against Song Jian. Point 10. Although it is not a problem to contact Wang Chi remotely, I still want to meet this shameless woman in person. I watched Wang Chi walk out of the loan company and block her in the underground parking lot. Wang Chi was stunned for a moment, then suddenly frowned and said, "Why are you poor X?" I smiled and said, "If I see you by chance, come and say hello, otherwise it will be rude. Get out, stupid X." She looked impatient. "If you don't get out, my mother will tell Mr. Song that I will kill you." It's hard to say who was killed first. I smiled and handed my phone to Wang Chi, which contained a photo of her tryst with the boss of the loan company. Wang Chi's eyes widened, and then he pretended to be calm and said, "This. What can these photos say?" I'm just meeting customers." "Oh." I lengthened my voice and played the indecent video to her. "What if I give this video to your client?" Wang Chi's face finally turned pale. She wanted to grab her phone, but I took it away in time. "If this thing falls into their hands, I guess you won't be able to see anyone alive or dead, right?" I leaned into her ear and said coldly. Wang Chi's whole body began to twitch. Tears gushed out instantly, and she knelt down in front of me with a poof. "Vic. Eldest brother. You let me go. They will really kill my..." She hugged my thigh and cried out in fear. "It's true. Please. Can I stay with you for one night?" "No. I can accompany you in the future. As long as you don't." I shook her off impatiently, but she was even more frightened. In a daze, she seemed to think of something, and began to kowtow fiercely, slapping herself while kowtowing. It seems that she also remembered how she did to me in the first place. "Vic brother. Do you think this will work? Is it okay, after all? I am not as scum as Song Jian, and Wang Chi's miserable appearance makes me unable to bear to continue torturing her. I drank her and whispered, "Get me the black account of Liu Minxing and Song Jian, and I will let you go. If you can't get it within 3 days, you can prepare for the funeral." After scaring Wang Chi, I didn't dare to stay for a long time, so I turned around and left. The next night, Wang Chi sent the black account from the internet. I used my industry knowledge for a long time to finally determine that this was true, and then I breathed a sigh of relief. However, I was still surprised that Wang Chi was able to get a black account so quickly. It seems that men will become idiots when they are in a woman's bed, and I will have to be on guard in the future. The black account is full of fizz materials, including countless obviously illegal loans, and there are many things used to coerce lenders, such as nude photos, etc., and there are many details of Song Jian's illegal transactions. I even found out the reason why my former boss harmed me. It turns out that my former boss also likes to make black money. And there are a lot of unclean things in private, because I rejected Song Jian, and caused him to lose an important way to make black money, which allowed Song Jian to directly connect with him and collude to punish me. Song Jian took screenshots of his chat with his former boss, as well as many records of illegal transactions, in the black account, and it seemed that he was also going to take it as black material in his hands to restrain my former boss. With this, I can also send my black heart former boss to prison. All these things were enough to send Song Jian to jail, but just to let him eat in prison was far from enough to punish him for his evil deeds. 11 I anonymously reported the black account of the loan company to the police, because I was worried that Song Jian would have deeper connections. So I also anonymously posted the content of the black account on the internet in batches, so that he would never hide the possibility of crossing the sea. Soon no one came to harass me and my family anymore. Once I pacified the rear, I was able to move forward with the plan more smoothly. In order to let Song Jian die in all directions, I needed to know his actions well. So I found his assistant Yu Lily. And Yu Lily is the female college student in Song Jian's mouth. Yu Lily was raped by Song Jian when she was in college, and then controlled by him with nude photos, and was even forced to work as an assistant to Song Jian after graduation, which was actually a plaything placed in the office. When I followed her, I saw that she looked like a walking dead every day, and it was estimated that she hated Song Jian deeper than me. She would be alone in the flower bed downstairs at noon with a cup of coffee in a daze, looking pitiful. I sat next to her wearing a sun hat and sunglasses. After all, this was near Song Jian's company, and I had to act carefully. Do you want Song Jian to go to jail? I pretended to play with my phone and whispered without raising my head. Why? You Lily looked at me like an electric shock, but soon became alert. You. Who are you? Don't look at me. We'll be discovered. I shouted lowly, so frightened that Yu Lily turned her head. Are you? Song Jian has ruined my family, and I want him to pay the price he deserves, I said viciously, saying that. I played her indecent video and carefully showed it to her. Why? Yu Lily jumped up in shock, with tears in her eyes, and said, You. What the hell are you going to do? I just want to tell you that I have a lot of things in Song Jian now. You can either cooperate with me now and overturn him, and my great revenge will be avenged, and you will escape from now on, or I'll send these things to your boyfriend, and your 5-year relationship won't be able to withstand the blow of this bunch of videos, right? To be honest, I don't want to deal with this poor girl with such means, but I was really afraid that she would be coerced by Song Jian for too long, kneeling for a long time, and forgetting how to stand up. So I could only persuade and coerce her. After the matter is completed, I promise to delete all these things. I am not the kind of person Song Jian. As I said, I reported my trumpet to her as a memory, and finally said, think about it. If you don't want to be controlled by Song Jian anymore, contact me. After saying that, I left, leaving Yu Lily in a daze. Late that night, Yu Lily added me as a friend. You have to ensure that Song Jian Yongsha cannot turn over, and you must also ensure that all videos are deleted. Looking at the words on the screen, I smiled slightly and replied to her message. If there is a slip of the tongue, the sky will be struck by lightning. Song Jian has always used Yu Lily as a plaything. So Yu Lily has never been able to contact Song Jian's illegal and criminal information. Fortunately, the black material in my hand is enough, and Yu Lily only needs to be used as my eyeliner next to Song Jian, and give me convenience at critical moments. Why? Yu Lily told me that the collapse of the loan company had a great impact on Song Jian, so he was trying to promote his marriage to Xu Jie. It turned out that Song Jian's industry was laid down by his father, and he was just a rich second generation who could boast, and he took over the property from his father with rhetoric. As a result, after Song Jian took over, it was difficult to take the right path, because of his lack of ability. So he began to make a lot of black money, causing the entire industry to change its quality and become more and more dependent on illegal income. The collapse of the loan company exacerbated the crisis of Song Jian's industry. And Song Jian could only count on the marriage with Xu Jin to save himself. Song Jian's parents and Xu Jin's parents have also known each other for many years. So Song Jian asked his parents to come to the door to propose marriage, and almost kidnapped the Xu family with emotion to set a wedding date. I realized that this was a good opportunity to kill Song Jian. So I asked Yu Lily to do as I told on the wedding day. After that, I began to accurately send Song Jian's indecent videos to every woman who could come to the wedding, and also learned through Song Jian's fish that his group of fox friends often gathered to take drugs, and then reported them to the police in Song Jian's name. I told everyone that someone would come to make a big wedding and let Song Jian die, and successfully fooled this rabble together. Next, just wait for a good show to be staged on the day of Song Jian's wedding. 12 Song Jian's wedding was held in the best local 5-star hotel, with 2 floors of banquets upstairs and downstairs. The Xu family has a very high status, and the people who attend the wedding are all business celebrities with heads and faces. I in the auditorium on the top floor. Song Jian and Xu Jin were welcoming guests, while I, with the help of Yu Lily, easily blended into the venue. The wedding began soon, and Song Jian also put on a scumbag face again, and walked onto the stage with Xu Jin on his arms with a happy face. Being able to marry Xu Jin is the greatest happiness in my life. For this wedding, I carefully prepared a video for Xu Jin to record our beautiful past, and I want to be here with you. My joy, watching Song Jian shamelessly talk nonsense on stage. I quietly moved to the computer controlling the screening and met Yu Lily. As the applause sounded, the lights went black, and Song Jian's affectionate confession appeared on the screen. However, the picture suddenly changed, the scene changed. And Song Jian's bedroom appeared. I am the video. Song Jian and Wang Qi are biting and rolling on the sheets, speaking explicitly and viciously. Aren't you afraid of being found out by Xu Jin? She is your future wife. What is she? All I want is her family's money. An old spinster. How can the kung fu in bed be compared with my baby? This was followed by the increasingly intense movement of the two, and the audience was in an uproar. Song Jian was stunned for a few seconds before yelling angrily, "Fuck. Turn off the video. Which bastard is looking at the player?" Seeing that no one responded, he wanted to rush to turn off the video himself, but was pulled by Xu Jin. Song Jian. Explain to me, what the hell is going on? Xu Jintai said with a blue face. This? Baby, listen to my explanation. Song Jian was at a loss and didn't know how to save this scene for a while. At this moment, a large group of people rushed in. And the leader pointed at Song Jian in the spotlight and yelled, "It's this scum." In the chaos, they rushed onto the stage and surrounded Song Jian with a violent beating. "Song Jian, you bastard. Dare to play with so many women behind my mother's back. My mother castrated you today. Beast. Dare to play with my wife, I'm going to tear you into pieces. Your conscience is eaten by dogs. My son has such a good relationship with you. You actually reported him for taking drugs." I drank champagne and felt very satisfied watching Song Jian being beaten like I did in the villa at the time. Song Jian was beaten and screamed, and several police officers finally arrived to stop the riot. Song Jian's nose was blue and his face was swollen, and he hugged the policeman's thigh and cried bitterly, "Police. Comrade police. You are finally here. Save me." The police looked at him twice and said, "Are you Song Jian?" "Yes. Today is my wedding. These people are here to make trouble. And beat me like this. Arrest them all and put them in jail." However, the police handcuffed his hands. "You are suspected of a number of commercial crimes, underworld crimes, rape, extortion and other crimes, and now our police are arresting you in accordance with the law. This is an arrest warrant." Song Jian was stunned and then shouted, You are falsely accusing. I want to complain to you. I want to sue you." However, the police were merciless, and after subduing the struggling Song Jian by force, they finally dragged him into the police car. I did what I said. I quietly said to Lily, "He won't be able to turn over in his life, and I've deleted all your videos." It doesn't mean that Lily replied. So I left the scene. I think that stopping to intersect with her is the greatest reward for her. Point 13, with Song Jian in prison. His company also went completely bankrupt. The former boss was wrapped up in the case and sent to prison. I have the black material of Song Jian's old customers in hand, and I basically took over his customer network. It's just that I'm different from Song Jian. I want to use these business relationships and my own ability to do legitimate business. And my company has also developed rapidly, and it has become one of the leading local enterprises, like a rocket. I deleted all the remaining indecent videos. This kind of thing should not appear in the world, and should not remain in the world. When I came to my senses, I found that today was a good day. This was the first day I went to Song Jian's villa to work last year. But this year I was prosperous outside, and he was sentenced to life indefinite inside. I asked the driver to take me to visit the prison, and Song Jian saw me through the glass, rushed up like crazy, and smashed the glass while scolding. Although he looked haggard and decadent, he was obviously not stupid. The moment I appeared, he already understood that I had caused him to end up like today. "I'm going to kill you. Kill you." He smashed the glass and roared, "You little deflated 3, wait for me to go out and ask you not to die well." I sneered and said, "When you come out, you have nothing. Think about whether you can die a good death first." Song Jian went completely berserk, and the two policemen couldn't hold him down and began to pull him back to prison. "Oh, by the way, I have 2 more things to tell you." I smiled and said, "First of all, next week I made an appointment with Xu Jin to go skiing in Switzerland, and I plan to confess to her there." "Secondly, what about?" I stood up, looked at Song Jian's red eyes and said, "Nyach finally died of syphilis, so don't believe everything he says." Watching Song Jian being dragged away, I put on my sunglasses and left the prison, and sat back in my Lexus. In the afternoon, Song Jian's real estate was going to be foreclosed, and I was going to buy that villa, and after Song Jian was released, I might be able to give him a job as a caregiver.